Folklore, tradition, and legends often speak more deeply about the soul of a nation than any historical document ever could. What a society fears frequently defines it better than conventional analysis. Fear exposes cracks, taboos, obsessions, and unresolved ghosts that history prefers to leave buried. I would like to talk to you about the most terrifying legends in the world in a series of videos, but to do so, I must begin with a country that, whether we like it or not, is without question the most culturally influential nation on Earth. There is no movie, song, or major event that, if it is relevant in the United States, does not become relevant for the rest of the world. In this video, we will explore the 10 most terrifying legends of the United States, and through them attempt to understand a little more deeply what this country truly represents. Let us begin.
Number 10. The Wendigo. In the folklore of several indigenous peoples of North America, the figure of the Wendigo emerged, a malevolent entity associated with the freezing cold of winter and with cannibalism. It is described as a supernatural being that inhabits forests whose mere presence inspires terror. Its appearance is that of a gaunt, skeletal humanoid with gray skin stretched tightly over its bones and a constant stench of death. According to tradition, the Wendigo is born from insatiable hunger during times of famine. It is said to be the spirit of winter itself, possessing a person and driving them to devour other human beings. This legend functioned as a moral warning against the despair caused by starvation and against the ultimate taboo of cannibalism, particularly during the harsh boreal winters. Fear of the Wendigo did not remain confined to stories. In the 19th century, real cases were documented that fueled the legend. In the 1880s, a Canadian newspaper reported the case of a woman in the Peace River region who, after resorting to cannibalism due to starvation, was considered a Wendigo by her community. The terror was so intense that attempts were made to kill her, and the intervention of the Royal Mounted Police was requested. In another famous case from 1907, a shaman named Jack Fiddler was put on trial for killing a woman accused of having transformed into a Wendigo after allegedly devouring several people. Fiddler claimed that he had acted to stop her before she could kill again. These testimonies show how deeply the fear of the Wendigo embedded itself in the collective imagination. Even modern medicine contributed an interpretation. For years, scholars spoke of Wendigo psychosis, a culturally bound syndrome in which individuals experienced cravings for human flesh and feared becoming monsters themselves. The Wendigo eventually transcended its indigenous origins and entered popular horror culture. In 1910, writer Algernon Blackwood introduced the creature to a broader audience through his famous short story, The Wendigo. Since then, it has appeared in novels, comics, and films, symbolizing the darkest face of winter in North America. Number 9. The Bell Witch, Tennessee. Between 1817 and 1821, a quiet farm belonging to the Bell family in Tennessee became the stage for one of the most famous and well-documented paranormal cases in American history. The so-called Bell Witch was, according to later accounts, an invisible entity that relentlessly tormented John Bell, his wife Lucy, and their children, particularly their daughter Betsy. Witnesses of the time described knocking sounds on the walls, furniture moving on its own, stones and objects thrown by unseen forces, and even a ghostly voice that sang and spoke aloud. The family endured physical attacks. The witch allegedly slapped Betsy, pulled her hair and pricked her with pins night after night. The Bells lived in constant terror. Betsy suffered severe hysterical episodes to the point that friends and neighbors had to stay overnight so she could sleep. John Bell experienced mysterious pains and illnesses that worsened over time until he died in 1920 under circumstances attributed to the witch. Decades later, historian Martin Ingram documented the case, claiming that many witnesses had personally interacted with the invisible entity. According to Ingram, people attended gatherings where they heard the witch speak and witnessed horrifying manifestations. He described how fear ran through the veins of those who recalled the events. Among the curious figures drawn to the case was General Andrew Jackson, future President of the United States, who, according to local tradition, visited the farm to investigate the supernatural occurrences. The Bell Witch has remained a symbol of folkloric terror for over 2 centuries. It is often cited as the most terrifying witch-related poltergeist encounter in North America, and is sometimes described as the only case in which a spirit directly caused multiple deaths. To this day, sites linked to the story remain in Adams, Tennessee, and the legend continues to chill those who hear it.
Number 8. The Axeman of New Orleans. Between 1918 and 1919, the city of New Orleans lived under the shadow of a serial killer known as the Axeman, whose identity was never discovered. This individual terrorized the population with brutal, random, nocturnal attacks. He broke into family homes and attacked his victims while they slept, using an axe, often the household's own tool. The crimes were horrifying, and many details were too brutal to be fully described. The lack of an apparent motive, combined with the ferocity of the killings, plunged the city into panic. The terror reached its peak when a letter allegedly written by the killer was published in a local newspaper in March 1919. In it, the writer claimed to be a demon and announced that he would kill again unless jazz music was playing inside the houses. On the night he specified, New Orleans erupted in jazz. Professional bands and amateurs alike played non-stop. Homes blasted records at full volume, and jazz clubs overflowed. The entire city danced to appease a murderer. And just as promised, no one died that night. This macabre episode secured the Axeman a permanent place among American horror legends and left a lasting imprint on the cultural imagination.
Number 7. The Cursed Forest of Freetown, Massachusetts. In southeastern Massachusetts lies the Freetown Fall River State Forest, a place whose sinister reputation has earned it the title of the most cursed forest in North America. It is part of the infamous Bridgewater Triangle, a region known for its concentration of paranormal phenomena. Legends of witches, ghosts, satanic cults, indigenous mythological creatures, strange lights, and even zombies surround this forest. It is said that the very ground has been cursed since ancient times. Real-world crimes further cemented its dark reputation. In 1978, a teenager named Mary L. Arruda was kidnapped and murdered in the forest. Soon after, between 1979 and 1980, a series of murders known as the Fall River Cult Killings were uncovered. Although later revealed to be driven more by jealousy and depravity than by the occult, sensational media coverage forever linked the forest to satanic rituals. Beyond crime, countless supernatural encounters have been reported. At the Ashisonette Ledge Cliffs, visitors describe ghostly figures that appear to leap into the void, only to vanish when approached. Some claim to feel an inexplicable urge to jump themselves. Others report floating lights, phantom vehicles, and distant screams echoing through nearby roads. Reality and myth intertwined in Freetown, creating an atmosphere so heavy that even skeptics feel unsettled. To this day, explorers and thrill-seekers continue to report deeply disturbing experiences among its trees. Number 6. The Stanley Hotel, Colorado. The Stanley Hotel is world famous for inspiring Stephen King's The Shining, but its credentials as a haunted location go far beyond fiction. Built in 1909 in Victorian style, the hotel experienced periods of grandeur and decline, eventually earning a reputation for being haunted. In 1974, Stephen King and his wife stayed one night in room 217. They were the only guests in the massive, nearly empty building. That night, King had an intense nightmare in which a fire hose came to life and chased his son through the hallways. He awoke terrified, sat by the window smoking a cigarette, and by the time he finished, the entire story of The Shining had taken shape in his mind. But ghost stories at the Stanley predate King. In 1911, a gas explosion nearly killed the head housekeeper, who fell from the second floor and miraculously survived. Many believe her spirit still inhabits room 217. Guests report waking up to find their clothes neatly folded, as if tended by an invisible maid. Others claim the spirit disapproves of unmarried couples sharing the room. The hotel's founder, Freelan Oscar Stanley, is also said to appear, wandering the bar and billiard room. His wife, Flora, allegedly plays the piano late at night.
Guests frequently report hearing children's laughter and footsteps in the upper floors. Today, the hotel embraces its haunted reputation, offering night tours and welcoming paranormal investigators. What once nearly led to ruin ultimately immortalized the Stanley Hotel in horror history.
Number 5. The Headless Horseman, Sleepy Hollow, New York. The Headless Horseman of Sleepy Hollow is one of the oldest and most iconic American horror legends. First introduced in 1820 in Washington Irving's short story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the tale describes the ghost of a Hessian soldier decapitated during the Revolutionary War. According to the story, the Headless Horseman rises from the cemetery each night, galloping violently in search of his lost head. He cannot cross the old wooden bridge near the church, which offers the only escape to those he pursues. The image of the headless rider hurling his severed head remains one of the most enduring moments in American Gothic literature. The story is retold every Halloween and has inspired countless adaptations, cementing the horseman as a global symbol of supernatural terror. Number 4. The Hanging Dog Bridge, Kentucky. In rural Kentucky, local tradition tells of the chilling legend of the Hanging Dog Bridge. According to the story, decades ago, a cruel farmer hanged his loyal guard dog from a bridge in a fit of madness. Since then, travelers claim to hear agonized howls echoing beneath the bridge at night. Some report seeing the spectral silhouette of a dog swinging in the darkness. Others say the spirit chases cars or scratches violently at their vehicles. Parents once used the legend to keep children away from dangerous bridges, but the warning became a dare for thrill seekers. Many returned pale, claiming to hear claws scraping metal or to see glowing eyes staring up from below. Number 3. Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, Illinois. Hidden in the woods outside Chicago, Bachelor's Grove Cemetery is considered one of the most haunted places in the world. Abandoned since the 1980s, it has produced countless ghost stories. The most famous is the Lady in White, a spectral woman seen sitting on graves, sometimes holding a baby. In 1991, investigators captured a famous photograph showing a translucent woman seated on a tombstone, despite no one being present when the photo was taken. Reports also include phantom houses, floating lights, strange sounds, and an overwhelming sense of dread. Acts of vandalism and occult rituals in the 1970s and 80s further darkened its reputation. Number 2. The Amityville Horror, New York. The Amityville Horror began with a real tragedy.
In 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. murdered his parents and 4 siblings while they slept. 1 year later, the Lutz family moved into the house, only to flee 28 days later, claiming terrifying paranormal events. Strange odors, black slime, extreme cold, moving objects, violent sensations, disturbing visions, and the infamous pig-like entity named Jody plagued the family. Their story exploded after the 1977 book The Amityville Horror was published, followed by investigations from Ed and Lorraine Warren. Amityville became the most famous haunted house story in American history, blending real crime with alleged supernatural terror.
Number 1. Mothman, Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Between 1966 and 1967, the town of Point Pleasant was gripped by fear after reports of a winged humanoid creature with glowing red eyes. Witnesses described a tall, gray-brown entity with massive wings that could chase cars at incredible speed. Sightings multiplied until tragedy struck, the collapse of the Silver Bridge in December 1967, killing 46 people. After the disaster, sightings stopped. Many believe Mothman was a harbinger of doom. The legend gained national fame through John A. Keel's book, The Mothman Prophecies, and remains a symbol of unexplained terror. Today, the town celebrates the legend with a festival and museum, proving that fear, once born, never truly dies.
Thank you very much for watching. I would love to know your opinion. Would you like to see the most terrifying legends from other countries? If so, tell me which country you would like to see next in the comments.